Today we're going to be talking about how using PowerPoint above the plain basics is a lot like programming. Now, I may use programming a little strong. Maybe custom or customized is a better word. But like computer hardware, associated software, they're probably not too alike in the world. PCs or software files. The same is with the PowerPoint presentation. Back in the day, I did programming in BASIC in high school and some Fortran 4 in college, and then a little bit of Visual Basics when I was working in my career. But what I'm really trying to say is that there is more than one way to present a topic in PowerPoint. It's called variability. One can use the basic features or the intermediate/advanced techniques if you have that knowledge. So here's a breakdown of the two levels of programming in PowerPoint. What I consider the basics is essentially your title slide, your story, and your fonts that you make up your story. Let me reduce this. And this represents anywhere from 1 to 2 to 5 slides, maybe more, but it's pretty simplistic in its layout. You can whip these out pretty quick once you know your content. On the intermediate to advanced programming side of the discussion, you have colored backgrounds, which we have here shown. And we're going to go over a lot of different items that we have discussed so far on this channel. Slide designer, that makes your slides a little more context sensitive. The slides are based on the words on the particular slide. You could have like a running slide, or you could have a walking slide, or a crowd slide, or programming, and it will find some pictures, some images to meet that desire of the particular slide. Audio, we've talked about inserting audio. It can be easy, it can be fun, it can be a little more involved depending on what you want to do. Same with video. Transitions, that is where you basically go from picture to picture or from slide to another slide, and you have some type of variability going from one slide to another slide. And then a topic slide. Some may call that an agenda, but it's basically, what are you going to talk about? You're going to tell them what you're going to talk about. You're going to tell them, and then at the end, you're going to tell them what you told them. And that's the recap slide. You're telling them what you told them. And what's the call to action? Is it to learn new software at work? Is it to go with the proposed budget? Is it to go with the purchase of a new product? Just what is the desired outcome once you've gone through the presentation? Callouts. We have talked a lot about callouts, and we have a sample one here. It should show up. It just adds more emphasis to a particular person or object that you're working on. Colored fonts, a lot more pizzazz than just the black on white. But as we've said many times, you don't want to get too crazy, you don't want to get too wild, and you want to be appropriate, use the appropriate font for the type meeting you're in. You wouldn't want to use comic in a business meeting. You want to use something more business-like. Animation, we're going to have some animation in this particular presentation. It's where you can have objects moving, coming in, going out, just a whole lot of different things that we'll call attention to that later during this presentation. And use of the non-visible areas. That's where you can use the area outside of the displayed area of the slide to give you some choices. Okay, do I want to go with photo 1, photo 2, or photo 3? Well, you can put all three out there and try them and see which one looks the best without having to delete it, import, or copy another one. You can have them there on the side waiting for your final decision. Photos, we've talked about photos. You can have different sizes, put borders around them, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. You can have a 3D object in a 2D slide. All of our slides are two-dimensional. They're basically X and Y. But when I click on this next item, you can see how this 3D object actually will do 3D animation. We just talked about animation on the previous slide. Hyperlinks. Hyperlinks are going to be shown here in the backup section. Hyperlinks basically takes one from the main slideshow to another part of the slideshow, or to the web, or to another file. A lot of different ways to use hyperlinks. In this particular example on the backup slides, once we click on it, you notice how the pointer changes. It takes us to a backup slide, and we've got one or more slides of stuff that we may want to use depending on the audience. And then we have a second hyperlink to go back to where we came from. Really powerful if you need it. And the last item is word art. It just adds a little more pizzazz versus the basic fonts that is the default. Custom shows. If you remember, a custom show is a set of slides anywhere in your presentation that you can hop to if you want to, based on the desire of the audience. In this particular example, we have a hyperlink to two slides. This is custom show slide number 1 in the data. And we have another one here. And then there's an option when you set this up to return back from where you came from. And we're going to have that. Next, we have hiding text. There's different ways of hiding the text. You can change the font to the same color as the background. What I'm doing here, I have a small box that you can't see that's going to slide over the text. Well, now you can see that I changed my background from white to gray. You can do it with transitions. You can make the font color change in transitions also. We talked about master slides. There's a lot of different master setups that you can refer to, notes, and handouts. Grouping images, that's essentially where you can have multiple objects and you can, or images, and you can group them so that they stay together and they keep the same relationship as far as the distance and the orientation of them. You programmers have looked at selecting which presentation view you want to use. Do you want to use not slideshow view? Do you want to use presenter view or edit view when you're presenting and associated with slideshow view? And we've talked about outlines, how there's 4 different ways you can use outlines. You can go back to that video and refresh yourself on it and how to get started. Bookmarks are used with hyperlinks sometimes, specifically with custom shows, because you have to know where to hop to for that hyperlink to work with custom shows. So use a bookmark to just put a little imaginary spot in the slideshow so the program will know where to hop. Formatting pictures, we've gone over this in a video. This is the formatting menu or formatting icons here. You click on this drop down and you get like 20 more. And then there's options on the far right. Let's see if we can go back to it. There's options here on the far right that you can click to immediately if you don't want to use these styles, as they call them. Formatting videos, somewhat similar to formatting pictures. It's context sensitive. You need to click on the video and then two more specific menus will come up for your use. So look at all the things you know how to do. And then we're going to go over quickly some other items that I did not put in a presentation. The various views we've talked about, different ways you can save your file. We've talked about bullets, photo albums, speaker notes, slideshow, different ways to advance your presentation, title slides. Do you need one? What should be on it? What should not be on it? How to deliver your presentation without stress, with confidence monitors, and many, many more. So there's design and layout and coloring to be considered. There's the message in the clip art, your thumbnail, and your title. You want to say a lot but not be too wordy. We even have a video on building presentations with no words. You want to show a little pizzazz without overdoing it in your transitions, your animation, your hyperlinks. You want to be efficient in your operation, whether it's a single screen or dual screen, speaker notes, presenter view, backup slides. You want to be prepared on game day with various backups of your presentation. Now, that's really not part of programming, but that's just being a good programmer in case something happens, because things happen. You want 2 flash drives and another copy in the cloud somewhere. You're going to bring your own cable. We've talked about that, whether it's VGA or HDMI, spare batteries for any type of handheld presenter or wireless mouse or wireless keyboard. You want pen and paper for questions. You want a hotspot in case the facility does not have Wi-Fi. And you want to confirm your cables work before you leave. And then it's okay to make corrections as you give the presentation. That's okay too. So you can plan on giving your presentation to your audience. We'll have a video on, do you do it before the presentation or after presentation or both or neither? It really depends. So one of my favorite expressions is ETU, expect the unexpected. You spend a lot of time building it, a lot of time programming. You've checked it over, and sometimes things just don't work, or it doesn't work quite the way you want it to live. So take your time, do not rush. But lastly, you want to plan to do something different in your presentation that you have not done before. You are a programmer in PowerPoint, and you want to push the envelope a little further to try something different. So to recap, we've talked about the basics. We've talked about the intermediate to advanced techniques of PowerPoint, some of them, not all of them, of course. But it really boils down to, what type of user are you? Are you a basic user? Are you an intermediate to advanced? And if you're a basic, do you want to get to the next level? So thank you for watching. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this, and we'll see you on the next video. Happy PowerPointing.